game.
I was going to say, a lot of people are saying New World is like RuneScape.
I'll be honest, I don't like the look of New World. Nancy plays it quite a lot. I just think it looks shit. And the fact there's no PvE endgame,
I was going to
what's the point?
say,
I
and
mean,
like they
just
said,
what's the point?
like I was reading an article about someone who was saying that like the PvP is fine, yeah, but as soon as you get these big clans, they're just going to dominate the world PvP and
Yeah.
it's going to feel shit.
And like you can take over the map if you win the war
Yeah.
and stuff. So it's going to get to a point where it's basically factions, where one faction's going to be the best, and everyone has to be that faction. Otherwise, you can't go to cities.
Yeah,
It just seems really stupid.
I don't think it's gonna survive. Like I think that like the combat looks a bit clunky to me. Like I'm never a fan of the active like movement combat thing that they do. Like everyone tries to reinvent combat in an MMO. And it's like, why are you trying to reinvent combat? WoW got it right. Like 100% WoW got combat right.
Yeah, it's the one thing they do very well.
Like it feels so good. It feels so responsive, so thing, but everyone like reinvent some of the other stuff that WoW done. Like that it doesn't do very well. Like for example, questing. Reinvent questing. But nobody seems to want to reinvent questing because they all come up with the exact same quests where it's like collect 8 of these, chop off 4 of these guys' heads, and bring them back to me.
Kill this big boss guy at the end of the quest line.
Everyone does the exact same thing. You need something fresh that's somewhere where I would say you need things. I actually think WoW did a really good job this expansion because I feel like there wasn't actually that many quests where it felt like that, where it was like kill 8 of these. It felt like no, these are all story driven. Like there's a reason I'm doing this.
Yeah, I think it did tell much more of a story. Well, this and BFA, I feel like the story in BFA was
like
really
they
strong.
definitely got better. Like okay, I rushed through this expansion, like, but I played for it properly once on the beta.
Yeah, I mean, if you think from Cataclysm to I'd say, including Legion as well, all the stories were kind of shit and were really badly told.
The questing stories, like I think Legion covered some pretty good stories in terms of like the content it covered, but I think the quest lines were poor.
Yeah, it didn't really tell the story very well.
Yeah, you had to sort of understand it. It was like a read between the lines sort of thing.
It was very much a kind of research on Google to find out what's actually going on.
But this expansion, I think they've done a really good job at explaining it. And like, I think the jailer sucks as a villain. I think he's boring, and I don't really understand who he is, other than he was one of the four other guys. Like he was part of them. That's it. That's all I know. And he's now he was a bit of a dick, and they were like, no, you can't be a dick. We're gonna send you to hell. And now he's out of hell. That's it. And it's like, but I don't really know this guy.
Yeah, I suppose a bit more backstory on him would be good, but I don't know whether they're just trying to keep it like kind of mysterious man.
But like, that doesn't like it's not.
It doesn't really
compelling.
work when you're trying to tell a story. Because you're meant to like hate the guy, you know. He's the jailer. I hate him. We need to get rid of him. But if I don't know what he is, then how can I hate him?
Like Sylvanas, you didn't like Sylvanas because she come across as pretty evil. Like at the end of BFA and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, but the rest of them, like, I don't care about the jailer. I don't even know what he's been doing. By the sounds of it, he's just been chilling down here, doing his own thing.
He's done nothing until we've turned up.
Yeah, and it was like, wait. It like there's loads of the, like I'm hoping it gets explained, but like it doesn't. We don't actually know how the jailer broke everything, or if it actually was the jailer that broke it. Or if it was us that broke because like everything going to the mall was saying broke or something. And it's just like, wait, so who actually broke it? Because I still have no idea who actually broke it.
Yeah, true.
Like, explain that. And if it was the jailer who did that, then now I've got a reason that he might be a bad guy. Like, that's saying, but at the moment we don't even know who broke it or how they broke it. It's like,
well, what's broken?
Yeah, what's broken? Can we even fix it? What are we doing? Is this all pointless?
Yeah.
And it's just like, like I think, like for example, I know a lot of people rant and rave about Final Fantasy, but Again, I've heard a lot of the questing in there is quite tedious.
It's super dull. I did the leveling until like 60, and then I couldn't do anymore because it's just the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, I've heard
Like,
especially the early leveling is really tedious.
Until you get about 55, you don't have like
Half
the
your
weaving.
abilities.
So like you have a GCD that's 2.5 seconds, and then when you hit about 55, you start to get spells that you weave in between the GCD.
Yeah.
It just really doesn't feel good. I don't
Until
think
you hit 55, then it starts to feel a bit more smooth.
I mean, that's what I was told. And then I hit 55, and I got to 60, and like, this still just... It feels like shit.
Yeah.
I just didn't like it at all.
2.5 seconds is a really long time.
It is. The only thing I liked about Final Fantasy is, like, old content was still very relevant. Like, old raids and stuff.
Yeah. I think it's really hard to make old content and keep it relevant.
It's one thing they've got very right.
Yeah. Like, I think Time Walking does an okay job. But
the raids are just useless.
But the problem is, yeah, that's the problem. I feel like they could totally update some of the raids. That'd be such a cool content patch. Like, yeah, we're rehauling Time Walking. They're going to be the dungeons that you know, but we're making the bosses harder because they were easy. We're adding mechanics to them and things like that.
Yeah, or like raids with an affix or something.
Yeah, like, you could easily put Molten Core, for example, and put in Mythic Plus affixes. The raids were so easy.
Really fun.
Like, you couldn't do that with current raids, because that'd be insane. Trying to do, what's his name? Remnant of Ner'zhul with Volcanic. Or Explosive. Or Grievous. Grievous be
That'd be awful. Everyone gets the bomb and everyone's digging with Grievous.
Yeah. But, like, that'd be a super cool way of, like, doing old content where the raids were easier.
But then they've got to make the rewards, like, relevant, otherwise people just aren't going to do it. And if the reward's relevant and you can only do that raid once every 2 months because of time walking, it's just going to be stupid because
but then, like, it's like this completionist thing. Like, people want the best gear, and it's like, oh, you can only get this one piece of gear once every 2 months.
But then, like, if you don't get that in the 2 months,
it feels
say you've
bad.
just re-rolled afterwards, like, 2 months, you're just not going to be optimal.
And then it's not even a guaranteed drop. And if it doesn't drop, that feels really bad.
And then, obviously, like, the more it goes on, the less and less people that do it, and the less and less people that do it, the less chance you have of getting it.
I feel like they could just introduce a time walking thing where it is just a thing that you do. Like, it's not a weekly event. Or whatever.
Well, I feel like they're experimenting with this with the whole Legion Mythic Plus thing. Yeah. This is an experiment. It's the same as like Visions, where they were an experiment for Torghast, basically.
Torghast. I must admit, I'm looking forward to leveling in Torghast, even if it's not efficient.
I think it could be good, as long as it is at least semi-efficient.